I'm doing a lot of videos today. I guess I have a lot to say. It's been a little while. Um, there's a couple of videos. I don't know if I have to take them off, or even if they're not long videos, they seem to be taking a long time to upload anyway on YouTube. So this video is for people that know what astral projecting is. Even, I guess, if you're curious to know what astral projecting is. So basically, when you're in, I don't know if it's beta, theta, alpha, whatever, when you're in a specific state, conscious state, also the whole between wake and sleep. Um, anyways, when you're in a certain state, some people say that, they go places when they're dreaming, or they can control their dreams, or they have very vivid dreams. I used to have such vivid dreams. I could tell you what was like the details on a person's face, or how rocks were laid out, or lately I have not been, because I've been dealing with a lot of crap, so I kind of like shut that part off. But then I just got a flashback, and I remembered some things that I've been kind of putting off as a part of my healing. And there were people in my family who I witnessed do this. When they'd be staying on the couch or something like that, or at a family function, they'd be in and out of sleep on the couch, and they would jolt themselves awake. There's actually a specific person who used to do this for creativity, and an inventor, some person, can't remember, but maybe even an artist, and he had like a heavy ball in his hand, and then he would hold it, and when he's dozing off, when he dropped it, it would fall on the ground. It would scare him, wake him up, and then he would do it over and over again, and it gets you in this like state, this cognitive state, where you get all these downloads and you get all this information. Sometimes it's creativity and it's just really inspiring. But I realized, after everything I've been through, that, and all the brainwashing I came out of, that can also be used for not so good reasons. Now, it depends how far in you are when it comes to your beliefs for certain things. Especially things that are outlandish and things that regular society would just say is in movies. But energy is real. I'm going to state that again, and it's a thing, and it can be manipulated. And when it comes to our brains, we are very powerful creatures. So to say that when we're in the astral realm that we don't have an impact on the 3D realm would be, a little bit dismissive or something like that. So anyways, get to the point that I'm trying to say. When I was younger, there was a specific family member that used to always want me to come over and stay on the couch or something like that. And I had these messed up freaking dreams, I tell you. And not pleasant ones either. And sometimes, turn off if you're squeamish, sometimes the dreams became a sexual thing and not enjoyable in any way. But it was that specific family member, and sometimes it wasn't even them. It was shape-shifted into a person that I didn't recognize, almost like masked. But ultimately, now that I'm more aware of this sort of thing, I realize what was going on. And so not only are there predators that are physically harming people or doing certain things against people's will, but there's also people manipulating certain energies and doing certain things in a different state that I don't even think there are any physical 3D laws to deal with. There are other laws, but the 3D world we have in here, how do you explain to somebody that you've been maybe assaulted or something like that in a whole other state, let alone dealing with the 3D, right? It's very difficult. But let's say a person has been exposed to that for a long period of time, or let's say that their parents did it to them. Okay, because they would have to learn how to do this somehow, unless they went out on their own to learn about certain things. I mean, I've learned a ton doing the research that I've been doing since I got out of the brainwashing and everything like that. And yeah, I had to do a lot of research and stuff on things I wanted to learn about. But this specific thing, it occurred to me that the individual that was doing that, because like I said, there's a couple family members that I witnessed doing this. I mean, they would have full-on conversations with themselves, like they're somewhere else. And sometimes it was in a drunken state too, so it was hard to tell what was like what was going on there. But anyway, suffice to say, let's say a person's been exposed for this for a very long period of time. That would it's considered, if it gets into a sexual means, that would be like the raping of a mind, not mind but person's. You know, that's some heavy stuff to even discuss. I didn't know if I was going to mention this, but I'm feeling not even pressed to. I feel, I wouldn't call it a responsibility, but I'm already talking about some things that are a little outlandish to begin with, and I've already accepted the fact that there are some people going to feel a certain way, and they can feel whatever freaking way they want. But unless you've been in a person's shoes, I mean, there's no point to judge unless you want to end up at some point in your life being put in that same circumstance, and then you're like, oh, that's why. And like, nobody, when it's bad shit, nobody really wants to go through that, right? So maybe best to approach it with more of an understanding, or wanting to understand certain things. But so this occurred to me, and I was like, wow. So if that's something that person's, let's say their parents did to them, and let's say they allowed their own children maybe around their parents, and then their parents did it to them, so their grandkids would be exposed to that sort of thing, and even their own children, you know, like it's just like a whole idea of the energies getting passed down as well. But it's definitely something that crossed my mind as of today. There's been little flashes of it to connect the dots with certain things, and I almost have been avoiding, for good reason. I'm sure you can understand why I haven't really wanted to discuss something like this, but I caught on after a while and stopped visiting this specific family member. And then I realized, well, I'm not the only one who is just learning about this stuff, right? Because as far as I know, well, I don't know anything, but I remember a whole lot. As far as I remember, my dreams, I had control over, but for the most part, it was usually just me in the dream. Very rarely was it a setting with too many other people until later on in my life. And usually, unless I was bombarded by somebody else, like it was a fairly decent dream. I didn't have too many nightmares. Although when I was younger, I do remember my grandmother telling me that I used to kick and scream in my sleep. So at some point I was, young enough, and I was staying in her bed. I'm not accusing her of this, but just saying she said I used to kick and scream. So like, obviously I had some sort of nightmares. But from what I can remember, for my own personal dreams growing up and everything like that, like mine were just vivid, I had pretty much control over them. But as far as me astral projecting and going purposefully before sleeping, going to other people, some people that like to manipulate their own dreams, they purposefully go into that sleep state knowing that's what they want to do. They've already made up their mind, they decided. Me, when I sleep, I sleep. I hit the pillow, I'm out, that's it, cold. Sometimes it's hard to wake me up, sometimes I don't even want to wake up. And I've always slept very well because I talk a lot, as you can tell, and I say what's on my mind or what's on my brain. And I usually leave nothing, when I started getting my voice, I usually leave nothing unsaid. I usually don't talk too much shit about other people, either behind their back or whatever. And so I'm never worried too much about what I've said to somebody. So, like, I don't go around sabotaging or doing anything that I'm worried about getting caught for. So, like, there's not too much that plagues me. When I go to sleep, I go to sleep. Unless I have, like, a test or something the next day. But even then. So, yeah, this is something I brought up. And then the more I started becoming awake, I've discussed with some of my other older friends previously to this, they were talking about it like, yeah, I astral project all the time. I do that. And I was like, well, shit. I didn't know it was like just a thing, right? So it's a thing. And there's some people that are open to discussing this sort of thing, you know, when you're around the right people. And there's some people that know nothing about it. But yeah, so that occurred to me. If there are innocent people being subject to horrible, horrible things in the 3D, and then on top of it, if they are being bombarded by, let's say, a presence in the, I think it's 5D or astral plane or something like that, if they are being bombarded also, that is traumatic. That's like, that's more than traumatic. That's some deep shit. I hope that's not the case for you. I hope if you've ever experienced it, you don't feel personally responsible if somebody's attacked you in, let's say, a dream state or something like that. And like I said, this video is, if you're just chiming in now, this video is for people that are a bit more open-brained when it comes to thought process about things that society usually doesn't talk about. And then there's good reason. If there's people going around that are trafficking young children or even adults, or if there's people going around assaulting or raping people, then if this is a thing for the astral plane, if it's the whole idea of the projection there, then that's, well, anyways, things are balancing out. People are getting their karma, whatever you want to call it. They're having to start their healing journeys and learn their lessons that they wanted to not do this whole time and just take from other people. Energetically too. Mind you, if you're not filling your own cup and you keep drinking from everybody else's cup, find a hobby. I don't know. Some people are doing that. I'm really proud of those people. I'm proud of those people that are actually taking a stand, even after all these years. They're like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to change it up, or I'm going to learn more about my past, or I'm going to do some healing of my own. And good for you. I am proud of you. Keep going. The shit that's bad for you, you know, I used to drink my face off. Now I drink tea. It's pretty good too. And there's so many different kinds. But don't want it to be too long, so if you've experienced anything like that yourself, please, you're allowed to seek counseling for it. And let them know in advance. Are you open to the spiritual talk about certain things? If they say, no, not really, be like, you're not the person I want to talk to. I'm going to go look for somebody else. Find the right match for you before you start sharing certain things if you want. Or even do this. For the public, there's lots of people out there that need to know they're not alone. Or that they, too, have experienced something. You know what I'm saying? Sorry if anything like that ever happened to you, but if it has, it's not just, it's not fair, and those people are getting their karma. Their karma. What's the opposite of that? Is that dharma? Anyways. Oh, Not so light-hearted. Sorry.